Hello and welcome to another episode of Beer Man's No Bull Beer Reviews. Today I have another beer from Grist Brewing Company out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It might be a little hard to see because it's white on kind of like a light tan label, but this one's called Morning Feels. It's a coffee and tea ale. That worries me a little bit just because I don't know what the base beer is. I've not had this before. I haven't heard anyone talk about it, so I really don't know what I'm getting in for. I just I like Grist House, and I generally like any beer with coffee in it, so I figured I'd give it a whirl. But yeah, I don't know what. I'm guessing it's going to be like some type of blonde ale. Right here, it just says ale brewed with light roast coffee beans, vanilla, milk sugar, raw wheat, and tea. So it sounds like. It also says contains tree nuts, which I don't know what that means. I don't know. But I'm guessing it's some sort of like coffee blonde, basically, but there's tea added. That's what it sounds like. Coffee vanilla. And then it's 6.5 ABV. So let's crack it open and see what we got. And these guys are actually doing a very big expansion right now in Pittsburgh, and they're not really distributing in Pittsburgh, but they are putting out a decent bit of beer, so I'm curious. I'm guessing they're definitely going to start distributing more like kegs and cans in Pittsburgh, but I'm curious with this large production facility that they're building, if they're going to try to start to expand outside of Pittsburgh. I'd be curious. But anyways, as you can see, it pours a darker golden color. Actually, it's pretty much like almost like rusty orange. So golden, yeah, that's not really right. But half a finger's worth of kind of a weak white head, and it's definitely more cloudy than I was expecting. It's not like hop haze or anything. So I'm definitely getting the coffee, not really getting the tea, but obviously tea doesn't generally have as much aroma as coffee, and it also really depends on what type of tea it is. I am picking up the vanilla beans a little bit too. But in general, like I get the vanilla and coffee, but neither one of them is like a super strong aroma that's like overtaking my nose. I will say I'm not really getting like any beer character underneath, so I'm really curious what this is going to taste like other than just coffee. Yeah. I mean, I would say that they probably only put the tea in this, not to be gimmicky, but just to make it like a double caffeine or double morning drink beer, to say that it's coffee and tea, because I don't really taste anything like herbal like tea, which I think is a good thing, because I think that blended with the coffee would be kind of weird. But to me, it's if you've ever had like a coffee vanilla blonde ale, that's really what this is. But I will say it's generally not like my favorite thing. But I will say this is a pretty good example of that. It honestly really reminds me of a local brewery, Wooden Robot. They have a beer called Good Morning Vietnam that's made with Vietnamese coffee and vanilla. And that one I think is a little more heavy-handed on the vanilla, so I might actually like this better because I think this is more towards the coffee end. Excuse me. This one is like mostly coffee with a little bit of a sweet vanilla. That one's kind of more vanilla with a little hint of coffee. So just generally my flavor profile, I much prefer coffee over vanilla. But I think this is a pretty good balance. In my opinion too, like this is the style of beer that you don't really want to taste the base beer. Like if you tasted, like, if this was even had a little bit of like bittering hops, obviously there's some in there to balance the beer, but if there was like anything that was like overly bitter or hot flavor, or even like a really deep like caramely malty or bready character, I think it would just throw off all the flavor in the beer. So I think they did a good job of you know, you can still tell it's beer, but it still mainly just tastes like coffee and vanilla. But neither one of them are overpowering over the other, and they're not overpowering at all. I will say I'm actually very surprised at how good this is, and I still don't think it's amazing. But for me, not necessarily liking this type of beer that much, I think they did a really good job. And I don't know how they really could have done much better than this for like a coffee and vanilla blonde ale or amber ale, whatever you want to call it. Like, I don't know how you could really do much better than this. So I do give them props for that. I think they did a really good job. On my scale of buy, drink, dump, I'm going to give this one a buy because I could see myself wanting to drink something like this at some point in time. It is a really nice, easy drinking coffee beer, but sometimes it doesn't have like really any coffee roasty character. It's just the general flavor of coffee and vanilla. So I think if you don't want like that roasty coffee stout, but you kind of want coffee flavor in a beer, this would be a good one to go to. So I could see this being me reaching, if I'm tired of drinking one style and I see this in the fridge, like grabbing one of these or buying it at a bar. So I'm going to give this one a buy, and these guys did a really good job on this. I'm impressed. So I think that's all I got in this one. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I look forward to doing the next one. Thanks.